Welcome to today's episode of Do Something. If you've been watching a while, you'll notice that most of my guests have been involved in what we activists called indirect actions, which generally speaking are low to no risk actions. But today I want to talk about direct actions. They may appeal to those who simply want to be louder in their activism. There are a million ways to do something, and they are all valid and worthwhile. But today's guest is Jake Hart. He is a screenwriter. He is a drummer with the Oil Barons. He is also an activist who does all sorts of actions, including direct actions. And we'll talk to Jake about that today. Welcome to Do Something, Jake.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank
So,
you.
tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a drummer. Where can we see you?
Um, so right now, my band, the Oil Barons, we just put out a record that took us 3 years to finish.
Oh, wow.
Right on the tail end of finishing it, my guitar player had a baby, so the we're not going to be playing live anytime soon, I don't think. But the record's called Grandiose. We're at the Oil Barons on Instagram. We have a side project that only comes out at Christmas, which we call Scrooge,
Mm.
where I dress up as Scrooge and I recite passages from A Christmas Carol while the rest of the band plays what we call Victorian doom metal behind me.
Oh,
So
this
if
is the
anybody's
era of Victorian doom metal, I think. Yes.
so that's musically that's what's going on for me right
So,
now.
so script writing, what kind of stuff do you write?
I'm one of those screenwriters who's been able to survive and pay bills, but hasn't had anything produced.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I
So
can't.
spec stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. Sold things, didn't quite get over the finish line, et cetera, et cetera. Sob story as old as screenwriting. Um,
Yes.
my dad's a screenwriter. My sister's a screenwriter. It
So you
was,
were doomed from the beginning.
yeah, it was inevitable. My dad's my writing partner, so
Oh, how wonderful.
yeah,
That's great.
it's a family business.
So, okay. So, how long have you been an activist?
I'd say pretty actively. It's only been the last probably 2 or 3 years. I was doing political campaign like volunteer organizing probably since like 2020.
What made you get up off, the,
You mean sort of what it made me feel like I have to get involved kind of
yeah.
thing? Because my mother was for a time sort of the super volunteer of New York State Democratic politics. And I watched her kill herself, just
Hmm.
door knocking, calls, all of it. And she became the door knocker the candidates wanted to go knock doors with. My mother is, by all accounts, a ray of sunshine on the planet. So I don't. It's not surprising that people would want to sort of be a part of the hi, I'm so and so. This is what I believe. This is who you should vote for. Like she's great at it. I think the reason I really started getting into more direct activism is unfortunately there's this thing where after an election's over, especially if you win, a lot of people seem to check out. Like, we did it, great. But I would just kind of see people decide, great, done. See you in 4 years.
Yeah.
Um, and it just once you get exposed to more and more problems, big and small, as far as just how government works, it just became this like I can't stop now. Like, okay, I won't be making calls for a candidate, but I can be making calls to the actual elected officials and tell them what to do because they work for me. Yep.
So people really don't understand their role as citizens. And
No.
and I think that's predominantly why we're here.
Yeah,
Because
I think it's absolutely why we're here. I push a lot of call actions to
Mhm. Yeah,
people to like this bill's up for a vote. Call your representative, tell them to vote X or Y.
right.
Half the people you deal with, whether they actually believe it or they're just being lazy, say, "Well, everything's too broken, it's too corrupt. There's no point." And I tell those people, there's no data to support. Let's just say like 10 million people. Let's say if 10 million Americans called their House representative, their two senators, and their state representatives each once a week with very specific marching orders. And I always tell people, every call ends with a threat. If you vote the wrong way on this, I will look into efforts to primary you. And there's no data to support that wouldn't work because it's never, ever, ever happened. Not until the majority of people in this country take their role as citizens seriously.
Right.
That only means voting correctly. I would also argue voting strategically, wisely. There is this door built into the government through the phone that is open and was built specifically for us to call and say, you work for me, do this or else.
Yeah, I will play devil's advocate and say
Mhm.
a lot of those lines are to a voicemail that is
Yep.
full.
Yep.
If they don't answer the phone, if they don't return your calls or your letters or your emails or all this stuff, then you take it to the office and you show up in person.
Yeah.
And that's what I would call direct action.
Yeah.
People going and standing at the office, people going to city council meetings or school board meetings or any town hall. Those are direct actions. You show up and you do something in person. You just came just before you joined me here. You came
Yes.
from a protest. What,
Yes.
tell me about that.
Since August, when Paramount Studios merged with Skydance, friends of mine and I have been outside one Paramount location or another to protest their ongoing capitulation to Trump in the efforts of trying to build a right-wing media empire in Hollywood. Every Wednesday since that merger, me and at least four other people have been outside the studio or their offices every Wednesday.
Right.
Um,
It's not the issue that you choose. It's that you choose an issue that is important to you that you can commit to long term,
yeah.
right? So I do want to ask you, since a lot of people are asking about spicy actions.
Uh,
Um, that is code word in the activism world for situations where you might get in trouble,
okay.
be
Okay.
confronted with the police or uh, feel like there's some danger of having tear gas or some kind of where there's some significant risk to your person.
Sure.
Um, and clearly, these are actions that are not comfortable for everyone, but there are people who are like, I'm not going to make phone calls. I need to do something more. I need to feel that I'm in somebody's face to do something.
Yep.
And, let's be clear, like I said at the beginning, it doesn't mean that this is a more important action. It's just that your risk adversity is different from other people's. That's all. It's all meaningful if you do it for in a consistent long-term way. So what would you say? Have you had an experience where it got a little spicy?
I would
Hmm.
say a few days ago, I think there were about 50 of us marched to the mayor's house with a list of demands for how we want the city to deal with the LAPD misconduct, sort of the financial and the human cost of that.
Hmm.
It was about a mile long march to the house, and we got there, and an advance team had sort of gone to check out, and they sort of markated on the sidewalk, like, here's the 300-foot line, which is what we've been asked to. That's how far away we've been asked to stay. And we got there, and all of a sudden, the cops had taped off the street a little, not 300 feet away, a little bit closer. And there were about 8 of them there, sort of in a line, and it turned into this. I don't want to say standoff is such a like loaded word, but there was them on one side of the tape, us on the other. And we went there to hand deliver the demands to the mayor, and an offer was made. It was like, well, what if it's the chief of staff and they'll come out to the street, not the house? And the decision was no, that's not good enough. We want the mayor. They told us to disperse. We didn't. And finally, the mayor agreed to come out, and 4 representatives from the group went and read the demands to her, and then handed them over.
This is actually a perfect illustration of a typical spicy direct action. It's it's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's not violent. There's no screaming. There's tension, but not violence or damage of personhood or anything like that.
Right. Right.
That is the general experience of of the spiciness of direct action. Most direct actions like protests and rallies and marches and and sit-ins and stuff are very benign. What I'm trying to do is temper that general idea with the possibility, understanding the possibility that it could get um, rough. If you are intentionally going into a hot area, just be
Mhm.
careful. Practice, protect your ears, know the lay of the land, check the exits. And there is no shame in leaving if you feel threatened. And of course, we need a lot of people to do direct action because there's nothing like thousands and thousands of people showing up somewhere to voice their opinion about specific issues. It is a visual impact that creates a permission structure to the rest of Americans sitting at home going, oh, well, maybe I should go join them, right? And that's important.
Millions of Bulgarians just got their government to resign. I
The
mean,
whole government, they
whole
all
government.
stepped down.
And the other benefit of knowing that a relatively small amount of people, I mean, millions is a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it
Yeah.
is, can make moves in a really profound way. Just
Well, there's a community.
there is a
And
community.
before I ask you my last question,
Yeah,
I also want to bring up that you said there's only four people that show up sometimes to your action, but and people go, what can one person do? And Andy Borowitz just posted today or yesterday about this one woman, Patricia, in Oregon, I think Portland in Oregon, and who it's her personal action that she goes every single day to this government building to protest. I think it's an ICE building to protest.
okay,
And they asked her to leave and she didn't. She was on the sidewalk side and they
right.
arrested her. They dragged her away. She's 5'2". She's this
God.
tiny little thing. And now she's a national hero. But anyway, so what can one person do? One person can be Patricia, and you show up and you just do something.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
on that note, what you think a couple of important or useful actions people might do?
I really do think that making calling your representatives at every level of government a habit is as important as it gets. And again, I know people will say like, well, they don't listen. What's the point? And I'd say like, until all of us are doing it, there's no way to say it won't work.
Yes.
The government needs to know we are paying attention.
Yeah.
I read a lot of legislation and I'll post recommended call actions on that. And again, there's people trying to like, we're going to do the legwork. So all you have to do is make the call. Like the real thing I always come back to is you do this, and by doing it in any way, you're instantly demonstrating that you have a certain compassion guides your decision making paradigm by a certain amount.
Yeah.
You're going to be surrounded by people who are that exact that they have that same personality trait, and you're going to start making new friends. And there's something about watching your friends become your heroes that is it's
Yes.
just a different level of connection.
And I always try and remind people that activism is fun.
it,
There
it is. It's so much fun.
it is.
When I direct you to my Instagram, the
Yes.
highlight of the day when we went to the mayor's house is one of the protest organizers. A friend of hers had she was house sitting her friend's 6 week old kitten, and the kitten came on the march,
Oh my God.
and the kitten just
That would
started.
have been it. I'd have been done.
The kitten got passed around, and me and the kitten were chilling for like 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and somebody got a photo of me and this kitten like staring into each other's eyes. And again, small things. Even we tell people like even if you're just reposting stuff on
Yeah,
Instagram, it's
that's
not
it.
nothing.
Yeah. Jake, I want to thank you so much
Yeah, thank you.
for visiting with us and everyone else. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and share and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.